welcome back to another episode of the London's Pretty Cool podcast. We are here with our first episode of 2022. We are so excited for our guest that we have today. It's going to be one of our best episodes for the new year. We are here with Zahra, Asha, and King from the ISO project. Welcome very much to the London's Pretty Cool podcast. No, Patrick. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
I can introduce myself later. That's fine. I'm the co-host, Patrick Briggs, but whatever. It's not what we're here for. We're not here for the co-hosts. We're here for the guests, as always, when it comes to London's Pretty Cool, because this podcast is all about focusing in on the really incredible projects and things going on in the city, and this is one of them. Now, the ISO project is, from what I understand, maybe the first of its kind within the city, which is really, really exciting. For anybody that doesn't know what it is, because it might be a new thing that people are hearing about, what is the ISO project? Can you tell us just a little bit about it, and yeah, just go from there. Like we'll start rolling in from there.
So the ISO project is a music video incubator for artists, musicians, and creatives of color based in London, Ontario. So basically, if you're a musician of color who lives in London right now, you can apply with a finished song. It doesn't have to be released, but if you've released it, it can't be older than January 1st, 2019. It's got to be finished, mastered, recorded, etc. And that's pretty much all that you need. If you get into this program, then you'll get set up with a fully ready, professional, experienced group of people to help you with the storyboard writing, the filming, the editing, getting film permits to film on set in different locations in London or even on city property, and also helping you with the marketing and the rollout of the video. So it's got mentorship, it's got exposure, experience, and support the whole way through. And the production team is also people of color, and they are paid for the work that they do. So this video is provided at no cost to the artist, and those who are working on it are also getting compensated.
This is so cool. I when I was first reading about it, I just got so excited that something like this was happening. From the top, though, why the name ISO?
So, and also I want to give big ups to Asha and King for jumping on this project with me, and you guys, feel free to just come in and give your thoughts too. But I'm answering this question because I came up with the name as well. So I'm not a film person, but I know enough about cameras and lenses to know that ISO refers to the camera's, is it the exposure, Asha? The exposure levels? Yeah, so like the brightness, the darkness. And it also kind of suited the fact that this is an incubator in Southwestern Ontario, because initially we wanted it to be something kind of large, working within the Four City Film Festival. But we've partnered with the film festival as well as the London Music Office. So after that, we decided let's make this specific to London because that makes sense with our partnerships and our sponsors. So it's ISO for that reason. And then we're in search of this talent. So we are, ISO. So it just kind of is a fun play on words, and it makes sense. And that's why we did it.
I love that. This project would be more than exciting for anybody in the city, and honestly for anybody around the country. So it's super exciting that it's happening within the Forest City. Why did you decide to start the project?
So the way that it started was in the first year of the music video category being a part of the Four City Film Festival. This was in 2020. I was co-hosting the showcase for Music Video Night. And one of the things that I said in the presentation was there was a real clear lack of diversity in this, not only the submissions, but just the short list of artists who made it. And so I said at the top of the program, you know, addressing people of color who were watching and artists of color who were watching, saying that, you know, being a person who grew up in London, who is from this region, not only do I know the fact that this is not representative of what this region is like, but this is something that we've seen all too much, you know, in institutions, award shows. There's very little representation of artists of color and their work at sort of the higher levels, you know. And by higher levels, I just mean things that are like cultural institutions that are recognized by the city, by the government, that are mainstream, etc. So I was saying, you know, I was addressing people of all artists of color in that minute, saying, this is for you. We need you to apply. You know, our work deserves to be seen, regardless of whether or not we see it or we see ourselves, you know, submitting this work. So the London Music Office heard that, and then in the following committee meetings that we had for the music video category, they said, we have some money that we want to put forward for this cause. We don't know what it's going to look like, though. Do we want to make a grant? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do that? So I was on that committee. I said, okay, let me think about this for a couple of days. I'll come back with you with a one-pager on something. And I just came up with an incubator program, just dreaming it up in my head. I mean, yeah, I'm a little familiar with how Canada Council of the Arts works and their granting programs, but I didn't want to make it a grant. You know, I wanted people to take away more than just money. You know what I mean? More than just funding. I wanted them to have experience, exposure, be able to know what it's like to have a vision, a creative vision, and be supported in making that vision actually come to life. You know, and meeting people along the way, and creating new collaborations and new relationships and learning from professionals and things like that. I just wanted the whole multi-dimensional part of being an artist to really be something provided for artists in London. Because I think artists in London of all backgrounds kind of need that. You know, they need that support 100%.
Would all of you claim to be artists of some sort?
I'm definitely. I've managed artists in the past, and two currently, but me myself, I'm not an artist. But to touch on a couple of things that Zahra said, there's definitely a lack of exposure for marginalized individuals, and this initiative is perfect to like funnel attention towards those that maybe wouldn't have access to or would never even hear about different money are available to further their own like passions in their career. So that's why like it was an immediate yes for me to get involved and get on board and support and be involved in this movement.
And Asha, why did you decide to get involved?
I think this kind of hit a little close to home with being kind of new to London and not having the social circles that I was used to, and feeling like I was kind of othered in a sense in a lot of the environments that I was in. So when Zahra brought this up, I thought this is perfect to get a network going so that we could all collaborate, we could get to know each other, we could have a support system, and really feel at ease with ourselves as we learn as artists and creatives. And I just thought that that was very important.
I'm just wondering, before we go further too, you guys all sound like you have very interesting backgrounds that I think people would love to hear a little bit about. Do you mind, like, I don't want to, you can, let's go King first. Can you tell us a little bit, like, what's your background that led you to get involved in this project? You know, give us your expertise.
So I'm originally from Mississauga, Ontario. I moved to London in 2012 to pursue running a clothing store. I've been doing that since 2012. So in the past, I've styled people for performances, music videos, commercials, things of that nature. In the past, I've been in commercials. I've worked behind and in front of the camera. So realistically, I was introduced to Zahra through a mutual friend, and she approached me more so on a, hey, would you like to style? Because like, in terms of, and we'll get into this later, but there's two different sides to what we're looking to pull from the POC community. Talent in terms of like artists, but also talent in terms of creatives. So behind the camera individuals. So she reached out to me to say, hey, like, would this be something that you were interested in? I immediately said yes, like I mentioned previously. And ultimately, I was inspired by the initiative, and I actually offered to do more. I was like, hey, like, is there any way I could be of further assistance beyond styling, putting clothes on people? So with that being said, that's where we kind of entered into this arrangement that we're currently in. But yeah, like it's been for the last like 9 years, it's been clothing. I've been predominantly doing clothing, running like Airbnbs and things of that nature. But predominantly it was the clothing that was the gateway to me getting involved in this. But also, as I mentioned previously, like I've managed artists as well. So the music thing has always been something that's been like close to me in close proximity. Like I'm from Mississauga, like I mentioned, I spent a lot of time in Toronto. A lot of my good friends from maybe like a decade ago were all like DJs and MCs. So I was in the club often, being around people, being in the studio where people are recording music. I have a lot of friends that are recording artists as well. So it was just kind of like a natural progression, like a natural transition. And it's great to give and like put people on type of thing, right? Like there is a selfish component to helping people because it makes you feel good, right? So I can't front and pretend like this isn't something that like makes me feel good or I'm not getting something out of it. So that's what it is for me.
Amazing, amazing. Asha, what about yourself? I know you just kind of expressed earlier, like why you want to get involved, but give us a bit of your background that might like pertain to the ISO project.
Yeah, so I went to school for communications, media and film, and television broadcasting. And I toured across the country and did some VR work and was a PA for a little bit. And then I finally settled back down in London after going to Fanshawe and found myself doing a lot of marketing and social media work, which is really fun. And that's kind of the way that I show up creatively on a daily basis, which I love. So yeah, once I was kind of working with the Western Fair District, and it tied into the Forest City Film Festival a little bit with one of our events. And then through a mutual friend, I met Zahra, and then things, it was just magic from there. So yeah.
Who is this magic mutual friend? Like
Yeah.
there seems to be somebody walking around going, you guys should meet. You guys should meet.
It's networking. Zahra knows everybody realistically.
Oh.
And sorry, we've had you on the podcast previously, so we know that you have a great history in the city with the CHRW radio, and you're part of the Rude Girls Collective, But do you mind giving a teeny background run as well, leading up to this project?
Yes, I would love to. So, so as I mentioned, I grew up in London, and then I actually went to Montreal in 2013 for school. And I was there between 2013 and 2019. And when I was in Montreal, that was kind of where my whole world, like the Zahra that you see right now was brought back to life. I got really involved in the music scene over in Montreal, and my whole world became music. All my friends were either musicians, dancers, DJs, producers. That was also where I got into radio as well. I worked at a campus radio station at my school. Friends of mine were DJs at other radio stations, et cetera, et cetera. So my whole world just became live music. I went to some of the most amazing shows of my life in Montreal. That should be like a whole other podcast. but you know, like it just changed me. So music really just became everything about who I was. And you know, and I also was writing. I was doing music journalism. I was doing creative writing. I, you know, started kind of on the last in the last few months of me being there. I wanted to, before I knew I was going to leave, I started a magazine that was specifically on music culture, and kind of like a reimagining of wax poetics, if you are familiar with wax poetics, sort of in that vein. So writing, communications, music, all of that was sort of my world. And then I moved back to London in June 2019. And I started DJing when I moved back to London, which is kind of funny. I started my vinyl collection in Montreal though, but started DJing when I moved back to London, started working at CHRW, became the program director. And that was kind of how I got very, very, very quickly into just various different communities in London, you know, being the DJ community, yes, the music community, yes, but like, you know, film, that was how I got asked to co-present the Forest City Film Festival's music video night, which is one thing that led to this happening. Um, you know, like there's so many things I can't even remember, but that was how I started also being part of Rude Girls. I'm not part of Rude Girls anymore. Just want to give a little, you know, little updates on that, but it's all good. Shout out to the Rude Girls. Um, and yeah, you know, like there's been so much that's happened in the last 2.5 years. Like I can't even remember everything, but more or less, um, radio, DJing, podcasting, um, audio production, you know, hosting, emceeing, things of that nature. That's me.
So we're hearing a lot of great background getting into this project. So if anyone is interested in applying, there's some good people on the backbones of this project for sure. But you kind of mentioned earlier that the project is kind of a collaboration between the London Music Office, Forest City Film Festival, and you guys. And you kind of mentioned that the London Music Office got involved because of your call to action during the Forest City Film Festival about this. So other than just that, like how did you guys really get connected to start this project, to be like, this is us three, we're really going to promote this and push this out? And then also, how are these two organizations supporting you and making sure that this project becomes a great thing that can continue to happen year after year?
I can give an answer to those questions, and feel free to come in and supplement, Asha and King. But I mean, they both mentioned it, that it was sort of through mutual friends that we all became in connection with one another. So I knew that when I started this project, I knew I needed help. I knew I needed a team. A friend, the other co-host of music video night, Savannah Sewell, who's, shout out to Savannah, big love to Savannah. She's a huge community builder here in London. She connected Asha and I, saying that Asha is fantastic. She has a film background, which is also super ideal. She's great at doing social media and marketing. And Asha and I actually met at music video night, and we had a little talk. And as you said, you know, it was like, yeah, you know, like, yeah, we got to work together. This is gonna be good if we work together. Um, and yeah, and I had already known King through a mutual friend, through actually several mutual friends. And I remember speaking of this project to one of them, and he told me, it was Andre, and he told me, you know, you should get in contact with King, because he's in this world, and he's, you know, he'd probably find it interesting, or at least be helpful for you to know. And I was like, all right, noted, you know, and then that's how I got in touch with King. Um, so just kind of bringing, you know, like life just sort of brought us into each other's paths, obviously for except for a reason, at least one really good reason, which is this project. And I just sort of knew, like, being able to identify people who would be interested in this project from the right place, you know, coming from the heart, from caring about the cause, and also, you know, being part of the creative community that we're looking to build and nourish with this program. You know, that was also super important, that, you know, whoever is working on this needs to also be understand why this is important, you know, from a real level. Um, and 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 the music office again stepped in, being a connection with the Four City Film Festival to begin with. So in this first year, they're the ones who are providing some funding for us, and the film festival is supporting us a lot in an administrative way. So you know, we're kind of like um, we ourselves, ISO, we're not quite sure what our status is yet, you know, as far as being nonprofit or this or that, but it helps to have the network of the film festival, and it helps to have the network of the music office in this very kind of like baby stage that we're at, to sort of provide any extra support that we can have, whether it's through their networks, through their connections, you know, through having access to certain spaces or certain people or resources that we need, that we can get really well with their support.
Speaking of, when it comes to, you know, their assistance and just like what you guys have planned, specifically it's the music video incubator at this moment. The way that it's presented in the first ad, it says currently is the word that I really like that's being used, is currently. It's for music videos. I was just wondering how you're planning on growing it in the future. Is it going to, like, obviously it's going to be focusing in on POC music videos right now, but like, are we talking short films? Are we talking, obviously with the film festival, we're obviously talking, you know, full films or short films? Obviously, sorry, I'm talking for you. Go into that, of course.
Yeah, I think what's really great about this project is we're building that network. We're recruiting different creative types in all fields and all elements, even when it comes to food and studio spaces, the culinary arts. We want to build a network that we're able to share different opportunities with one another. If one person's succeeding, there's no reason why we all can't succeed in the same space. So yeah, there's a lot of room to really develop and become more than just a music video incubator. I want to say it's just an incubator for creative talent in general.
Yeah.
We were gonna ask this a little bit later, but I think it applies now. Like, speaking of, you know, with the way that it's growing, you know, and this being the specific team here, let's say, you know, somebody gets excited and they want to get involved. You know, are we taking in volunteers? Are we looking in like at future? We're like with future funding, maybe hiring people out for, you know, for future projects. Is that something that you're thinking about as well?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to funding and so forth, yeah, like we would definitely take on volunteers, but there's also like that's built into the initiative is like paid positions for contributors. But the more funding that we receive, like for example, I think you're kind of insinuating like an investor of some sort or something like that. It would only empower us more to put more people on and put more people in positions to pursue their talents or pursue their skill set. So yeah, it would make perfect sense for us to pursue that.
Amazing. Okay, cool.
So let's get right into the good stuff. What exactly are the people winning if they go into this incubator, their applications are positive, they're accepted? What are those people getting from this incubator? I know you said they're supporting every part of the music video process. Me personally, I don't know. There's probably a lot more that goes in the music video process than I'm aware of. So what are these people going to get as their end product?
gonna get a dope music video. But seriously, they will. So as soon as they get into the program, the first part of the program, they're going to sit down with an experienced storyboard writer to actually put a vision out on paper and to create a video treatment. So they're going to get, you know, like the whole concept down. And this person is going to be, or the artist involved is going to be asked questions. They're going to be forced to think about, you know, their artistic vision creatively in a way that is, they have to take themselves very seriously as an artist, you know, at every single step of the way. So, you know, then following that, we go into filming, you know, so that is experience being on set, you know, and they may not have had that experience at all whatsoever. It's a very, very, if you've never been on a film set before, it's a very, very interesting, fun, exhilarating experience, you know. So they're going to be getting an experience with a film team. They're going to know what it's like to actually be in front of a camera, you know, shooting takes, taking time off, how long how long it is sometimes when you're shooting on film. And then, you know, they're going to get behind the scenes editing experience too. Like they're not going to be the ones editing, but they will see what it's like to be actually producing their video. So all these different experiences and all these opportunities to see what is it like to actually be on a set and be part of a professional production. To me, for me personally, like the end product, yes, they're going to get an amazing music video that they can be proud of, and that's theirs, and they can say this is part of their body of work. But one thing that I'm hoping that they also take away from it is that they really see themselves as a real artist, you know, not real artist, as an artist who can get into the world at a professional level. You know what I mean? Like they have work that has this whole production around it that is supporting it, that can help them, I hope, you know, see their art in a way that can seem elevating for them, you know, can seem more like, okay, I'm entering the next step of my career as an artist. You know what I mean? It can be like maybe, and depending on where they're coming from, maybe it's the first time they've ever done anything of that nature for their work. So the end result is a music video, new relationships, new collaborations with fellow creatives, and also maybe a renewed or rejuvenated sense of themselves or their art, as something with real creative integrity. So that's coming from me personally. Asha and King, I don't know what y'all, what are you guys hoping?
Yeah, so one of the things I love about this project is you don't need to be the winner and the chosen person of the music video to actually get something out of this. This is for everybody. So even if you apply and you're an artist and you don't make it to the music video stage, you're still able to get highlighted on our social media pages, highlighted at our future events. We are trying to put forth the best opportunities for everybody. So we will keep you engaged, keep you in the network, keep you on file for if anything else comes up. We want to be there as a support system for other people. And we want to give them a chance to be heard and seen with whatever resources we have to offer as well. So it's not just for the winner, everybody gets to win.
Yeah, they nailed it. Like, there's not really much to add to that. Like, realistically, like, I would imagine that a lot of the artists that would be submitting, like, if you look at like different tiers, like, so the veteran artist that's put out 100 music videos, or like the semi-established artist that's maybe made a couple like videos on their phone or something like that, and then the artist that has never done a video before in their life. There's different takeaways for each of them. Like the veteran artist would be like, well, this saves me some money, because you know they've already been doing videos, putting themselves out there and whatnot. The artist that's maybe done a couple things like this and that. They're just there to step their game up, and like now this is a fully well produced professional body of visual art that I can present to the world. And then there's like, like the rookie artist that has never produced or had any type of visuals. It Zahra or Asha mentioned, like, like they now look at themselves like, hey, like this is real, this is tangible, this is something that is like, I can truly like say, hey, like, look at me type of thing, right? So it provides a bunch of different things for, depending on like where you're at in your musical journey, like it can provide something different for everybody. But ultimately, like you're gonna walk away with a fantastic product from the ISO project.
This will not be a Rebecca Black video. This will be
No.
yeah. This will be, yeah. I love how you guys are describing this. Like it sounds super inspiring. Like I myself am a musician. Myself and Aaron have been a part of the London music scene forever, and just like I know the idea of like, it would be so, we should get a music video done for this, we should do this, we should do that, and you have no idea what you're doing. We were talking about it before, and there's so, I mean, like with TikTok now and things, people they find it easier to edit now more than ever with video, but it is kind of rare to have a musician in a band who's also like, you know what, I'll handle the music video too, and I'll also like do this, and it be of a quality that like you guys are talking about, where it's maybe can compete with a bigger tier artist sort of music video, and it doesn't look like you were doing it in your mom's backyard or something, and I think that this is such a, like the way you described it, of kind of putting yourself on it's like, it's not just seeing it in your dreams, you're seeing it on screen, and I think that's so cool.
Like self-realization, like, you really like are looking at yourself in real time, like you're putting yourself on par with individuals that have professional music videos, right? So like you can really see yourself as who you should be, who you are.
Yeah. And it's doing a music video is a lot of work. Like it's hard. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. And to do that as an artist, independent, you don't even know what you're doing, really. Like that, the amount of work and effort that goes into that can be so tiring that you just want to not do it. You know what I mean? Like, so we really are just about providing that support for artists, because one of the things that, for me personally, has helped me a lot in my life in general, but especially career-wise, is people who have allowed me to be in spaces where I'm surrounded by people who have made it, who I do find inspiring. And it's like just being in those spaces where, the real, like, can we swear on this podcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
The real shit is happening in front of you and you're seeing it and you're like, okay, I may not be the one doing this, but I'm like, I may not, like, for example, if you've ever been backstage at a concert, you know what I mean? At like a big show, at like Redman and Method Man, maybe. If you've ever been backstage for that, it's kind of like being there. It's a little like, oh, okay, this is different. Like this is a different. Your relationship to the art form changes versus when you're a spectator from afar. So the same thing goes for anything. If you're a filmmaker, it changes. And I have actually been an extra in a film too. So watching the movie after it came out was different for me because I was, part of the production process. So, and not even as a creator, as like an actress, but even to see that part of the process, going to the casting call and putting on my costume, like getting fitted for the clothing, and then, you know what I mean? Like that kind of just totally changes things around for you a little bit. That like, I see what goes on in the world behind the scenes, and I see what needs to happen in order for things to come together. And if I had a higher stake in those processes, then that would also help me propel myself further if I was going down that route. So the same can be said for anyone who's in this project in any capacity, whether as the musician who's being filmed, who's getting their music video created, or for the filmmakers or the set designers, or you know, like the those who are providing the clothing, everything, the art directors, the director of photography, everything. So yeah, we just want to put people in the position for them to actually create work and do work, with with the freedom to do it, you know, without having to feel like they're doing this out of pocket or they're doing this completely free, you know, because again, for people, for creative people, um, it it also kind of is a little disheartening when you can't get paid for your work, you know, because of this, that, and the other reason. So this is another thing that we wanted to address in this program, is, you know, at least offer some kind of compensation, for those who are producing this video.
Yeah, I gotta say, only recently, like for the last few months, I started working at a video production company, and I started to really understand the background of what goes into creating a great video, from like lighting, how many people need to be on set, what needs to happen. And it made me definitely double check, like a lot of people in my life are musicians. And I'm like, why don't you just make a music video? Like, let's go, like, let's pump stuff out. It's easy. Like, why aren't you doing it? And now being part of it, being like, oh yeah, it costs a lot of money if you want to make a quality amount of work, like a quality piece of work. And it's not like, oh, just point and shoot on your iPhone and let's edit it together and put something out. If you want to put something out that is worthy of your music and your art that you're putting out, you really need to put the time and effort, which costs a lot of money as well.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of people too. Like, it takes different people in their element to kind of work on the little behind the scene things that make it a full-fledged production. And I think that a lot of individuals, especially artists of color, need that support, because with the lack of representation that has been historically, it kind of takes a toll on self-esteem, and you get that sort of imposter syndrome sometimes. Am I good enough? Is my art too out there? Will this make it somewhere? But with a team behind you, you're able to have that confidence boost and feel better with yourself, and then hopefully get that imposter syndrome mentality out of your head.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, because this is for people of color specifically, and you know, obviously, we're two white kids growing up. I mean, like this is something that doesn't reflect, doesn't have any effect on us, but will have effect on so many young people. Like you're saying, you know, just seeing yourself in the media and being involved in it, and yeah, no, this imposter syndrome. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah.
But oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to continue on that because, like, it's something that works really in really subtle ways. Um, so it's really important to name it, because, you know, being a person of color in creative spaces in London can be really difficult sometimes, you know, because you don't see yourself, you don't hear yourself, you know, and it, as Asha said, it does take a toll on you. Like, and especially as an artist, as a creative person, like we need, um, you know, creative people, we need the spaces around us to be supportive, to be inspiring. You know, we don't, it's not like we need rainbows and unicorns or anything, but when spaces are not welcoming for you, oftentimes you don't really want to engage. So we're trying to get people, and that's something that I've kind of have sensed a little bit in London too. And of course the pandemic didn't help it, but people are a little bit in their own, like they're very siloed. Artists specifically, they're very, very siloed. And unless you're the type of artist who will get, you know, can count on a regular gig at a bar when they were open, playing like a guitar and doing like some rock band tribute cover situation, you're not getting booked. You know, like you don't have residency at spaces in London.
Yeah.
And what's up with that? You know what I mean? Like there's something really wrong with that. This London music scene needs to do a lot better in terms of, you know, offering space to diverse array of like not just individuals but music, you
Agreed.
know.
Yeah.
So like it's great though, because in certain ways it's great because that makes artists have to create that space for themselves. But London is not a place where that's easy to do at all by any means. You
Mm.
know, COVID or no COVID. If we were a different city, it would be different. But as far as spaces, as far as access, as far as the cost, as far as people's willingness to actually come out and support you, that's difficult in London. It really is. Um, so that's another thing that this project is very, very innovative for, is that it actually has the city's support. You know what I mean? Because we're just kind of pointing out the obvious and trying to do something good about it, you know? Um, yeah.
This is so interesting. I was having a discussion with my partner Jill before this about the London Music Office and Corey Crossman, and how the city is now a UNESCO Music City, and how that's like a really big deal and that's super important. That's great. And she just kept cutting me off, being like, "Yeah, but they don't focus in on the local scene. They don't do enough for local artists to build them up and to create like, and that involves like." Them making room for more venues and making, like you're saying, making room for more varied venues that can offer different kinds of music and, you know, different audiences. You know, yeah, London is known to be a bit of like a rock bar town. You know, I remember being asked one time when I was in college, somebody walked by and they were asking me specifically, where's the R&B bar, like where's the R&B place? And I didn't know what to tell him, because I was like, there's nothing like that. There's nothing like that here. I'm really sorry, you know, like there must be something, like there's something wrong here, right? Like it's there's all that music was terrible in there. Is there something? Like I can't tell. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, I completely agree. More varied, more options.
And here's the thing, like, it's not like there's ISO project leaning type of people, and there's that's not true. Like the reason that the reason that I was so moved to do this project is because we all know that not only is there currently a whole lot of talent in London and a whole lot of hunger for something new, something different, something fresh, but like there's been an underground music scene of all kinds of different music in London, like since before I was even born, and through that time. You know what I mean? And I know this just from talking to people who are OGs in the London music scene, or are just older and have a love and an affinity for music, were DJing themselves at some point in the 90s or early 2000s or whatever. There is a history of like there is a reason that London is known as a music city. Although at this moment, it's kind of like, well, what other kinds of music are there aside from country and rock that are celebrated here? But at a certain point in time, London was, I'm not going to say diverse, but London did have these different communities, different groups of people around music that were actually um, doing their thing and doing it freely. So there was a point in time where these scenes existed and they could be accessed. However, they were underground, but it's just what's mainstream and what's sort of what London presents itself as, either intentionally or unintentionally, and what the experience is as far as what's easy to access and what's kind of like clear on the surface. It's very one-dimensional, but we all, like all three of us, and probably the both of you as well, know very well that that's not the case. That's why we're even doing this project to begin with. So it's kind of like, you know, it's trying to call in a community, it's trying to build a new community, um, but we're not trying to reinvent the wheel by any means. We're just trying to provide something that is creative and innovative in its own right, but it can exist through the creative power of the people who are here, just coming to us and connecting with one another and seeing what comes from that.
And it won't even just be music. You know, it'll grow so far beyond that, which is so exciting about it, right? It's just
Yeah.
like going to be this like project that keeps growing.
Yeah.
I want to get a few more things in because I don't want to take too much of your time, guys. Applications, they're currently being accepted, the deadline being March 1st. What is the eligibility for people who would like to apply?
Sure. Do you guys want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So eligibility, you just have to be a London, Ontario resident, a person of color, or someone who identifies as racialized. There is no age limit, but if you are under the age of 18, you do need a parent's consent and immediate consent. But yeah, applications can be accessed on London Music Office's website at www.londonmusicoffice.com/ISO project, and then you can fill out all the required information there. We do encourage you to send in kind of an idea of what you have, and if you have a portfolio or any links to any existing projects so that we can get a sense of your artistry, that would be great. But other than that, I don't think there's any other definitive things that kind of
There's
make
one more
someone
thing.
eligible. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The song that you apply with, you have to apply with a specific song. It has to be an original song. No covers, no remixes of anything of any kind. But you know, bands are welcome to apply, and musicians who are instrumentalists, who are, you know, the producers behind their track, like everyone is welcome to apply as long as there's an original song that you have ownership over. You know, apply with that.
Yeah, and if you are a band applying, at least 50% of the band has to identify as being a person of color.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about it beforehand. Is there like it doesn't really matter what type of music then, obviously, you know, there's no limit, you know, with the creativity?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No, just don't, like if you're creative and you make music that people feel like, and you identify as a person of color, like, yeah, like we're open to it 100%.
Yeah, music is music, you know, that's the beauty of it. I don't know if you're going to ask this question or you're going to get to this question, but there is also a call out for creatives as well. So the musicians are the one who are coming into the program and, you know, getting the music video done. But we also want creatives, who are all the kinds of creatives that we were talking about throughout this whole interview, to get in touch with us. And we have a form, which we will be putting out very soon, for them to upload their work, their portfolio, tell us a bit about themselves and about how they want to get involved. And it may lead to them actually being one of the paid members of our production team.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. I was wondering, can people apply with more than one song? So say they have a few songs on the docket, they have a couple ideas. Can they apply 3 different times with 3 different songs and see which one goes through?
Yes.
Yeah,
they can. Yes, they can.
This is what you do every day.
And who will be judging the applications? So are you guys going to be like the main 3 judgment team, seeing who gets to make it through? And how many people do get to be involved in the incubator?
We have a core. This is the core 3, but we're also going to have other individuals. Like we're going to expand the jury group to about 7 people. We haven't released all the names yet of the people that will be on that jury, but you're looking at 3 of the 7.
Yeah, all the applications, like all of the applications that come will go through the 3 of us. We will screen those down to a suitable number. And notice my vagueness here. And then from there, that number will get passed on to the judges that the King was talking about, who will also be part of the consultations I guess we haven't really talked about the application process. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, there will be, the judges will be made up of people in the music industry, in the film industry, both in London, you know, the artists themselves as well, but also in other capacities. Many of them will be from London, but some of them will be from other parts of Canada. And that's very intentional because we want, you know, as much as this is a project for people from London, a part of this actually being very successful and reaching the goal that it has is for there to be that connectivity towards different parts of Canada. So yeah, so there will be jury members from the music and film industry from just across Canada. And did you have another part to your question?
Yeah, I was wondering if it's just one winner after this application or if there'll be multiple people involved in this incubator.
So we don't know. We don't know yet. It all, seriously, it all depends on sort of the scope of each project. So the application, so this is where I'll talk about the consultations. The application process for the artists includes, after the screening by the three of us, the selected artists who have the strongest applications will actually meet with us and the rest of the jury. Not in an interview per se, but more just to talk about themselves, to talk about their song and their vision for the video. So there's this consultative process that is part of the application. And that's just really meant for the artist to, you know, talk about themselves in a way that is not so limiting that an application can sometimes be. You know, talk about themselves freely, make themselves familiar with the jury, and also for the jury to see how feasible is this project? What are we going to need for this specific artist's vision? What are we going to need? You know, what's the production look like? What's the timeline look like, et cetera? So that's just kind of meant for everyone to get familiar with one another.
That's when the project that comes through that involves a big CG spaceship gets canned right there.
Maybe I'm not saying no to that.
And for our listeners who are listening, or listeners who are listening, but those who want to apply, knowing that you three are going to be like their first kind of roadblock to getting into this, do you guys have like a personal thing that you're most looking for when in these applications, like the best song, the best kind of storyboard idea, or someone who kind of has all of the things put together? What are you most looking for that first round of choices?
I'm looking for passion. I want someone who, I don't care if you haven't had any experience before. I just want to know that you really love music and you think that you could break down barriers with it. I know this is a project for people of color, but music knows no bounds. And I think that's one of the greatest parts about music. So I want people to apply who are really just passionate about becoming the best artist that they could be and are willing to go through the process.
What means something to me is somebody that has like a vision. Super dedicated to what is it what they do. Like they really stand behind their product. They really stand behind their music, and they know what every, like for me, like it's like what every verse looks like. So when I wrote this verse, I saw like this illustration in my mind of A, B, or C, or whatever it was they were going through as they were writing it, and how they could bring it to life. Like I want somebody that has, like Asha said, passion, but also like a vision. Like they can see what they want and know how to create that, or at least describe it so somebody else can create it for them.
Yeah, and I echo what both Asha and King said. And for me, it's all about someone who takes themselves seriously as an artist. You know, like they want to invest in their craft. It doesn't, that there's no financial, monetary, branding, whatever that I mean when I say that. I just mean you really believe in what you're doing, that there's a purpose behind you creating your art, there's passion behind it, there's vision behind it. And you are an artist. You're ready to just embody what that means, you know, in your life, because you can't really be anything else. You know what I mean? If you're an artist, you really can't be anything else. Like you're not in it to make money, that's for sure. So yeah, I am looking for someone who is ready to just take that part of themselves and really just melt into that identity of being an artist with passion, with vision, and being serious about it with drive, you know, dedication.
I love it. I like that the answer is mostly just like creativity, passion, and just like basically the willingness to be be open, right? Be open, be creative, be willing to um like hear your idea, be willing to be maybe shot down, you know, or this or that. You gotta swing for the fences a little bit here and kind of go for it. And I love that. It's all about like, yeah, the passion and everything. That's wicked. After applications close, when will people hear if they were accepted or not?
By mid-March.
Okay, cool.
So pretty quick turnover. That's good to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
By mid-March or at the latest, very beginning of April.
So,
Okay. I think we're at the end. You know, we had that pause because we had to just make sure. I think we're at the end of our major questions. We're going to get into some London-based questions before for you guys before we wrap up. But did you want to let the listeners know about any other information about the project, where to find it, Instagram, anything like that?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram. Our handle is ISO Project London. And you could get updates there, and then you could find the application as well as the production team application on our link tree in our bio. So yeah, it's a pretty easy process. There's not a lot of barriers to get through. So yeah, we encourage everyone to check out our Instagram to kind of get the highlights.
Yes. And please spread the word. Spread the word. Send the web page, send the Instagram page, send the application, email it, you know, signal it, send a telegram, pigeon carrier, all that stuff. You know, just send it out. We want as many people to know about this as possible, because yeah, we really don't want the application to close and people to be like, oh my God, you know, I wish I knew and I don't, and now I know and it's too late. We want everybody to know. We want everybody to apply.
So Aaron is just going to quickly use the washroom. I'm sorry. And then, but I am going to ask some London-based questions while she's gone. So we've got what's really cool about you guys is that everybody kind of emigrated to London and really kind of chose it as your hub and made sure that like what I love most about London. I'm kind of born and raised, but I moved out of the city. Zahra may have heard me say this before. I moved out of the city when I was young, and because I was like, this place sucks. There's nothing going on here. Like everything's so boring. And I moved to Oakville for school to go to Sheridan, and that place is boring. No offense to Oakville, but holy moly, you know. Sorry, say again.
Did you take radio at Sheridan, Oakville?
Yeah, broadcast journalism. Yeah.
Go to Montfort's?
Say it one more time. I'm so sorry.
The restaurant around the corner. You never went to
Oh
Montfort's?
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I went to Sheridan as well.
Oh yeah. Did you think Oakville was also kind of suburgatory?
So Oakville's kind of like just like a bougie Mississauga or a bougier Mississauga, realistically. Like, so like I had friends that went to like OT, like high schools in Oakville and whatnot. I went to Sheridan in Oakville. Yeah, it's pretty humdrum. It's boring. There's nothing going on. If you want to see action, you got to go by the lake or something like that, like Rebecca Street and Lakeshore. But it's boring. There's nothing going on over there.
Yeah. So when you come back to London, it's not that London is so bumping. It's just that like there is a bit of an effort going on. Like in the city, there's always something happening in the summertime at Victoria Park. There's always like a new festival happening, and there is an effort to make it a music city. So there's kind of things going on. Like you can always like I always found it difficult to go see a movie in Oakville. Like you had to travel really far to go to a movie theater. There's options here for that. Anyways, it's cool that you guys have all come back to London and or made it your home. So that being said, what's your favorite place to eat in the city?
I'm gonna do a shameless promotion right now. My parents own a Indian fast food restaurant called Good For You in Cherry Hill Village Mall. And they make some bomb food. It's kind of a mismatch of like a bunch of different cultures and flavors. I personally am Guyanese, so there's a lot of Caribbean flavors in the background. We do, for the most part, sell Indian food, but because you could get a little bit of everything, I just love it. It's a good spot. You should check it out.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Well,
For me specifically, like my favorite food groups are pretty much Caribbean, Italian, and Chinese. But my top three would probably be TNT. TNT and Tabanka, they're right on Dundas by Maitland. Wendy and Haroon are amazing over there. And also, I really like Kanji Chan, which is, what is that? That's, I think it's Beaverbrook, or it's right by like Wonderland, by the Costco, the north side one.
Nice. I was going to say TNT is moving to Hamilton Road, which is what they just recently announced they're moving to Hamilton Road. So if anyone wants to try them out, they're great.
Fantastic people too. Yeah, even better food. It's good.
I still haven't been to TNT. It's like,
And I'll take you there, man. We gotta go. They're awesome.
Please, I know. I love Chinese food. Oh my God.
Group trip. I need to try it too. Group trip.
Hello.
Zahra, what about for yourself? What was your favorite place to eat in the city?
I would say my favorite place to eat in the city is where my favorite food is, which is Ethiopian food. So that is Addis Ababa.
Next door.
Yeah, right next to TNT.
Yeah.
I still haven't been to TNT, but yeah, but that's my favorite restaurant. I'm gonna definitely plug them because it's like one of the 2 Ethiopian spots in the city, literally. But yeah, they make some just always delicious. And I really feel like it's impossible to have not delicious Ethiopian cuisine. But that's just, that's just something else. Yeah, that's my favorite place to eat.
Awesome. What is a London small business that you guys couldn't live without if it was closed?
That's a good question.
I love Reimagine Co. I think that they are doing such big things that I love to see. I'm a firm believer of put your money where your mouth is. So I don't want to give my money to big corporations anymore. I don't want to support CEOs like buying their 5th house. I want to support the small guys that are helping the environment and helping the planet and making conscious effort to do so. So yeah, those are my peeps. I would die if they were gone.
Yeah, big love to them. Sorry, go ahead, King.
I said, no, I don't have an answer for that question. It's a good one. Thought of it that way.
The jump off.
Yeah, me, but I didn't have my business.
But like literally, you couldn't live without. No, I'm just kidding.
You run the jump off?
Yeah, I do. The jump off London, yeah. We just recently moved. Yeah, we from the Midtown district. We were at Dundas and Williams. Currently now at 428 Richmond Street, which is right across the street from Cousin Vinny's. So intersection of Carling and Richmond, just like a block or half a block, whatever you want to call it, north of Dundas on the east side of the street. Big red sign, can't miss us.
Amazing.
I'm really close to there. I go to Cousin Vinny's all the time, so be prepared. I'll be checking it out on my lunchtime. I'll be coming in for sure.
Well, man, yeah, Cousin Vinny's makes good pizza. They're good people over there too.
For me,
Yeah.
for me, I was actually just there earlier today. Shashwa. So it's a jewelry, it's like not only jewelry, she does jewelries, hats, all kinds of things. I'm actually really surprised I'm not wearing anything from the store right now, because this is where I go just to get inspiration. Shout out to Shireen, the owner of the store. It's just like you walk into the store and you're inside the best gift that has ever been made, but like you're inside the gift box, you know what I mean? Like, so it's got like things to decorate your home with. My favorite part is the jewelry. However, she hand makes some of the jewelry, but she gets jewelry from all over the world, you know, from Turkey, from Aruba, from different countries in Africa. And she actually buys jewelry from these places that she travels to and brings it back with her and sells it here. She also sells the jewelry of artisans in London as well. So yeah, Shashwa, you have to check it out. It's in Wortley Village, just on the corner of Wortley and Bruce Street, I believe. And again, like I'm super shocked that I'm not wearing anything from her right now, because, you know, I usually am. But definitely hands down my favorite store to go to in London. It's just like, it's a dream. As soon as you walk in, it's just a dream.
That's good to know. I walk past that place all the time. So definitely going to have to go in soon.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite, one of my favorite stores in London. Definitely.
I wanted to know, this is something I've been thinking about lately. Do you prefer London in summer or winter?
Summer. Yeah, for everything in summer. Yeah.
100%. Like there's like you mentioned, like there's actually an effort to do. The city puts effort into like making the place vibrant. Like you see, like Dundas Place lights up in the summer, like every weekend. Victoria Park. Personally, like I just actually started ice skating a couple years ago.
Nice.
Nice.
Incredible at it, like realistically, like I just learned it. I'm amazing at it. So that's my thing. But like realistically, like the summer though, the summer there's just so much going on. Like I enjoy like cycling like by the Thames. I Wortley Village. Like I'm just kind of getting like acquainted with Wortley. I know they won like best neighborhood in Canada, like maybe like 5 years ago or something like that. So just taking in the scenery and whatnot. Yeah, definitely something hands down for me.
I am a sunshine girl, so everything is better in summer. But you know what? London has made me appreciate winter a little bit more. I love that the community comes out to go ice skating at Vic Park and Covenant Garden. I just love that there's options available. There are beaver tails at Storybook Garden, and a lot of wineries are starting their own skating rink now. So I think that's really cool that kind of the winter market is kind of on the up and up. So I'm not hating winter in London.
Yeah, and if you actually go to some of the trails, they're nice all year round, you know. So we are blessed in that way. We have some beautiful nature scenes.
Gotta
Do you have
bundle up.
Yeah. You
Oh
gotta
my
dress.
God, yeah. I had a conversation about that today, about how like I'm no longer, as you can see, I'm no longer afraid to be bundled up anymore. When I was a kid, I was like, I kept getting sick because I was like, I don't want to wear all these layers. And now I don't care. Stay warm, stay comfy.
Did you not feel cool wearing a scarf?
I did not. I thought it was super uncool when I was young. I thought like wearing, I don't know. I just was like, I don't need this coat, you know, and it's slowing me down on the soccer field or something.
Yeah. You know what's not cool though? Being cold. That ain't cool.
Or
That shit's not
not cool.
There is nothing cool about that.
Not fun at all. Not fun at all.
So we just have one more kind of London-based question before we get into our final game. If you were to have the perfect day in London, so this might be a little difficult, perfect day in London, what would it entail?
I guess I'll go first. I enjoy I like Billy's. I don't know, Billy's Deli. So breakfast at Billy's, start there. Like I said, like I'm into cycling, so like morning cycle by the Thames, come back, maybe grab a bite at the market. Sorry, that's awkward. Yeah, like grab a bite at the market. Honestly, go to work. I love working. Realistically, like I'm always working anyway. So go to work for a couple of hours. End it with dinner at TNT or something like that. Catch a movie.
Great day.
Mm.
Asha, you want to go?
Yeah,
Or you first?
sure. I'll start my day with some Patrick's beans, herbal tea. Gotta put that local plug in there. With a good book, probably on my back deck, and then some morning yoga, either at a park somewhere, just somewhere in the sun, hopefully. And then going for a walk. I want to be outdoors for most of the day if it's the summertime in London, for sure. Going for a walk, a hike, uh, take a little picnic out and eat fruit by the Thames, by the river. That would be my perfect day.
Very nice.
Oh, that sounds like a whole summer right there.
Yeah, you can't beat that. I'm with that.
So I would start my day running the full trail at Medway Valley Trail, so just off of Gainsborough. That's one of my favorite trails. Um, so I would run that whole, and I've never done this, but I want to do like a sunrise run. So I want to run all the way through, and I have all my spots by the water, and I'm not giving them away, so don't even think about it. But I'd do my run, watch the sunrise, pretend I'm at the beach by going to my different various spots. Then I'd get in my car, probably drive down. It'd probably be too early for some Ethiopian food, but I'd probably find some good, like either some good vegan spots like Plant Matter Kitchen, or go pick up a salad at Bodega. And then I'd hit up Grooves, go do some record shopping for sure. You know, maybe Dundas Discs just to check out kind of the cool, funky old stuff that they have in there. I'd go beside Grooves also to check out, what is the name of the bookstore? There's a bookstore that's right beside Grooves that has like some cool, it's like a used bookstore. I definitely go and check that out. I check out City Lights. I probably go check out Odyssey as well. And then if this is in the summertime, I'm sure there'd be maybe some music going on somewhere. So I just want to go find out where's the spot happening where there's live music going on and I can dance. So that would be what I'd do. Run, check out some music, check out some books,
Dance.
Those are all great days. We were able to do them this summer. Get out to do all.
Yeah, they have yet to happen, but
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're gonna do our last game. It's just one last thing to wrap up the podcast. Again, thanks so much for taking the time to speak about this amazing project. And honestly, we're stoked to get involved and promote it in any way we can. You know, so thank you for getting us involved. But for the final game, okay, this is a classic here in the London's Pretty Cool community here. It's time for this.
Oh, that.
All right, so this is a classic game here. London's Pretty Cool. So basically, we're going to give you it's kind of a lightning round. We're going to give you two options and just try and give a quick answer between these two options. We're just going to run them real quick, and then that'll be it. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Do we
All
all
right,
give our answers at the same time, or is it like
you
is this
could
sort of-
maybe shout them all at the same time. No, it'd be cool if we heard everybody.
okay?
But whoever thinks of it first is more than welcome to go first. And just
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, starting off, kind of difficult. Would you rather the Western Fair Market or the Covent Garden Market?
Covenant.
Fair. I have to say Western Fair. I work there.
I haven't been to the Western Fair Market yet, so I can't.
Western
Oh, yeah.
Fair
I don't.
voted best market 2021 and
That's not
2020 and I think 2019 too. So
Yeah, I haven't been there since I moved back.
Gotta go. All right, next up we have Sunfest or Home County.
Sunfest.
Sunfest seems to be the big answer there. I like that.
I've never even heard of the other one. What did you say that was?
Home County. It used
What's
to be
that?
called. What did it used to be called, Aaron? It was the
I thought
Was
it
it
was
like
called the Home County Folk Festival.
I think. Oh yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, it was the Folk Fest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunfest is a little better in that regard. Masonville Mall or White Oaks Mall?
Masonville?
yeah, I'd say
Yes.
Masonville.
I don't go to malls really.
Do I? But yeah, I guess Masonville.
Yeah.
Becoming such a great trend on this podcast. That was like an early thing that we started with this or that. We're like, oh, well, we have these two major malls here. We got to ask that question. And the more and more, the later it's going, people are just like, I don't go to malls
I don't go
anymore.
to malls, yeah.
I don't go to malls, like, and it's kind of refreshing, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, Springbank Park or Gibbons Park?
Gibbons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Gibbons is underrated
Yeah.
I
for
agree.
sure.
Gibbons is still pretty. And it hasn't been taken over by the geese yet, the way that Springbank has been for a really long time. Like a really long time, you know. Gibbons is still green in the right way.
You can find a few spots to sit where there isn't any poop. Just a few, though.
Gotta bring a plastic bag. Then yeah, so you're good.
Mm.
Fanshawe College or Western University?
Fanshawe. I'm a Fanshawe alumni. I have to say Fanshawe.
And so good people over
Yeah, Fanshawe.
Also a love it.
Odyssey Records or Grooves Records?
Odyssey.
Odyssey. There you go.
Yeah, I love their movie nights in the summer. It's a good time.
there. Yeah, I would say Odyssey because I had a little bit of a relationship with them when they were at B13. So guys are really cool. Odyssey.
I'm a DJ, so by nature, I don't have to answer this question.
That's right.
I'm going to use my right to remain silent on this question. So I ain't going to do that. You're not going to mess up my relationships anywhere. No.
So funny. I didn't even think about that. That's so fair.
Brown and Dixon or City Lights?
Brown and Dixon. City Lights is dope though. They have an upstairs that also they actually also sell records. I don't know if y'all have ever been there. But I know Vanessa and yeah, so shout out to them. They do cool stuff.
What is that?
Brown and Dixon bookstore or City Lights bookstore?
Oh, City Lights.
I would say City Lights too, but Brown and Dixon always lets me put up posters in their shop, so I really appreciate that. So
I will say, yeah, Brown and Dixon, we put on a hardcore show there one time in a little spot. So they're very cool about that stuff too. You guys should think about that for future. If you're thinking about spaces, I'm sure they'd be very open to all of that.
sweet.
Okay, you were mentioning biking earlier, King. Bike the TVP or hike in one of our ESA trails?
You say bike the DVP?
The Thames Valley Parkway.
Oh, 10. Yeah, like that's what I do. So yeah, that one. Absolutely.
I would
10.
say
Yeah, I would say hike too.
Nice. We got some great trails in London that a lot of people don't know about, so everyone got to get out. London's Brewing Co-op or Anderson Craft Ales?
Anderson's Craft Ales.
Co-op.
I don't drink beer. But the brewing co-op does good events though. I know that. Yeah.
I shout out Forked River though. Forked River Brewery. Those are great people over there. I just recently started. They're actually a sponsor of the ISO project, so we definitely want to shout them out, show them some love. We'll definitely be doing some things with them coming soon.
Ooh, signature brew, perhaps. I see. Maybe. I love it. I love it. Maybe so. Not beer. Fire roasted coffee or black walnut cafe.
I like. I've had their chocolate chip banana muffins, so I'm rolling with them.
Sorry, King, it cut out. Do you mind saying it one more time?
I said I've had Black Walnuts chocolate chip banana muffins, or like their banana bread, so I'm rolling with them. That stuff's fire.
Yeah, I think Black Walnut has my vote too.
I've had fire roasted coffee more than I've had black walnut coffee, but black walnut is definitely an OG in the London business community, because I remember their location on Richmond since like ever, you know. So definitely got to shout that out too.
All right. And final one, Highland Theater or Mustang Drive-In?
I've never been.
Me neither.
Oh, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
My boy that never even goes outside was there like last week, and I was like, "You actually went? Like it's crazy." So like, what was the other option? Highlights? What do you call that?
Highland Theater.
Where is that?
It's on Warncliffe. It's actually like doors down from me.
Small joint, yeah.
Yeah, and it does all like the artsy kind of films there.
Yeah, I would say Highland. I've been there a couple times, and they've got some amazing popcorn flavors. The toppings, you know.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Mustang Drive-In, just because I have like some really fond memories of going there as a child and seeing like, I don't even remember the movies. I remember one was like an Eddie Murphy movie, probably like Daddy Daycare or something, you know, some like kid-friendly thing. But I just have some fond memories of going there and like putting down the seats and the blankets and all that stuff, and being so amazed at how it's like on the radio, like how the movie's on the radio. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I see Ash's face. Yeah, you would love the drive-in. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, summertime drive-ins, like that's the way to experience a movie, especially if you want like multiple viewings, because they'll usually show 2 or 3 movies in the one viewing, right?
Oh.
But I was going to say Highland, since COVID started, they also started a drive-in part of their theater, so their parking lot is now a drive-in. And I live pretty close by that I can kind of like stand in the park close by and watch the movie. So it's great for me. But also the theme is great. They do a great retro night. They put some like you get a double feature for $8 and you get to go watch 2 old movies that are similar. It's pretty good. So if anyone wants another ad for Highland, I love it there.
Well, that kind of wraps up the episode, everybody. We really thank you again for taking the time to speak to us and involving us in promoting this incredible project. Again, this is a great opportunity if you want to save like some final words to the listeners, but we really just like, thanks again for taking the time, and you know, we're excited for everybody to listen to this episode. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I just want to say one last shout out to anyone who's an artist to go apply. And even if you aren't an artist, tell your friends, tell your families, tell your peers, tell your coworkers who have their dad rock band in their garage, you know, whatever it might be. Just tell everyone. everyone needs to know of the opportunities available to them.
I second that, to please spread the word. Again, this is open to all artists of all levels. The only real thing you need to be eligible is to just take yourself seriously as an artist. Same thing for being a creative. If you want to get involved on the creative production side of things, even if you don't want to be on this production team, but you want to be part of the network that we're building, the community of London creatives that we're building for people of color, get involved. Email us, isoprojectldn@gmail.com. Again, the form for the production team is forthcoming. The musicians can apply online at the music office website. Get involved, get in contact, spread the word, because this is, it's going to be building something great that the city has never seen before.
Yeah, it's really important that like the POC community like rallies behind this. This is an opportunity for these like established institutions to see like what we're made of, how we rally together, how we like support one another. So we're only as strong as our community, and our community is strong. So I really want people to come out, support, spread the word. The best type of advertising is word of mouth. So tell a friend to tell a friend. You know what I mean? So ISO Project.
What's up? This is Zahra, Asha, and King from the ISO Project, and you're listening on the London's Pretty Cool podcast.